just because so we don't feel anything, just to
Or so
distract us more.
eating's
I-
fun.
It's so weird. I never in my life thought that I'd be trying to gain weight. Never, never.
Well, go through
Eat.
stages because so we don't feel anything, just to
Or so
distract us more.
eating's fun.
It's so weird. I never in my life.
Do you guys remember John Bradshaw? He's from years ago.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay. He said, you can't tell me that there's nothing mind altering about eating a, a, a couple pints of Haagen-Dazs. Anything. I thought that was funny.
Oh, that's
Well, it is fun. That's what we do. I mean, that's when I have like my son is having health issues, and I think subconsciously, and I'm not aware of it, I get nervous, and what do I do to comfort myself? I stuff my face. There you
Yep.
go.
How is he doing, Sharon?
I have no answers yet, but he's doing better a little bit. They gave him something to help him,
Good.
with his pressure and a little bit and his anxiety, but he's having I mean, I've never seen him cry like he did in the last couple of days because he's
Aw.
having trouble talking because when he talks, he gets short of breath. So it's really odd.
Yeah, that's not so good. So
Kind of different. It isn't. It just
yeah.
So
But
I'm there
we'll
for him, but then I eat. So it's like,
Yeah,
and
well,
the mind's like saying, okay, now you're not getting away from me, girl.
yeah, well, that's not the worst thing you could be doing. So
exactly.
Smoking cigarettes.
drinking booze.
Oh yeah, yeah. The hard
Yeah.
drugs.
I think
All right.
he knows. Right?
All right.
Okay.
So tonight, since Amy's not here, we're going to be talking about forgiveness and needs and just in general from nonviolent communication. I just thought I might as well do a little riff on nonviolent communication for us. And so um, we're talking about needs and the four things, the things that are most influential to us and how we do what we do, why we do what we do, what we don't do, what we don't do. All those things is our belief that we have needs and that our needs are um, uh, something. I mean, everybody has the same needs. Everyone has the same needs. We all need safety. We all need food. We all need water. We all need love. We all need connection. We all need, there's all these things that are the same thing that all of us have. And if we could come to understand that all of our needs are the same, and that if someone is doing something that is not loving or not helpful or somehow negative, it's because they have unmet needs. Marshall Rosenberg calls it a tragic expression of unmet needs. And so when the person's needs are met, then they are no longer frantic and in pain. But as long as they're having unmet needs, they're going to have feelings that are going to be feelings of fear, anxiety, anger, all those feelings that Amy always shows us every week. Those feelings are actually the result of this tragic expression of our unmet needs. And so I thought we talk a little bit about needs and how that affects us in A Course in Miracles. Because, I mentioned to one teacher who works with people who are, having um, emotional or mental difficulties. And, I said, why don't you think about using nonviolent communication with these people? And they said, well, because it's about needs. And A Course in Miracles tells us that we only have one need. And so, we can't, we can't work with people with about their needs. But of course, that's I think short-sighted because I think, yeah, we can work with people with their needs. So I have a few things that I put up here. In the holy instant, there is no conflict of needs, for there is only one. For the holy instant reaches to eternity and to the mind of God, and it is only there love has meaning, and only there it can be misunderstood. It can be misunderstood. There's the ego for me. It can be understood, and Of course, I'm going to play a little video. Let me see if this is the right one that I have set up. That is, by the way, Marshall Rosenberg. But I think this is the one. Maybe it is. And
Ken
maybe
Wapnick.
yes. So I think it must be, I know this video is on this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one. So let me do this again. And share the sound as well. And actually, no, I'll do the Marshall Rosenberg one first. No, I'll do the Ken Wapnick one first. I think I've got these mixed up, which ones are which, but that's okay. We'll all do okay. All right.
Hey, Lisbeth.
All right. And this is Ken Wapnick talking about what forgiveness means in practice.
This morning we're going to talk about one way of looking at what forgiveness means in practice. Some time ago, I did a workshop called Hearing the Melody, in which I spoke about the importance of hearing the melody in the other person. I used the Greek word melos, which actually was first used by Richard Wagner in this context. That he spoke of in any great work, like a great symphony, there was an underlying melos, which was the kind of theme of the whole symphony. Melos is the Greek word meaning melody. That was not the actual notes, but it was like what the notes represented. And I use that idea in this workshop to talk about really hearing what other people are saying, and how important that is to hear the melos in people. And when you really hear, then what you hear is everyone's expression of pain, everyone's call for help. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. As I always say in my classes, loving, kind people don't come here. It's the unloving, unkind, guilt-ridden, fearful people who leave home, feel guilty over their sense of having abandoned heaven, and then project out and feel that God has abandoned them. So everybody who walks this earth, as Jesus tells us in many different places in the Course, walk in uncertainty and in constant fear, of feeling terribly alone. The beginning of Workbook Lesson 182 makes that same point, that we all walk around here feeling like an alien, and never truly knowing why we feel this way. And we attribute the causes of this alienation to all kinds of things. Our heredity, our upbringing, our current life situation, the economy, the weather, all kinds of things. But the fact of the matter is that we all feel that way because we are, in an ongoing way, always choosing to have the ego be our teacher instead of Jesus or the Holy Spirit. So we're all screaming out for help. And if we're in a situation, if we're in a relationship, and we are coming to that without any needs, without any kind of specialist demands that insist that other people or circumstances be a certain way so that we feel better. If we do not have that, and we could really come, as the Course says, with wholly empty hands, then we're free to hear the pain in other people. And then the love that is present in our right minds, in everyone's right minds, would then extend through us and just kind of touch the person in their pain. I'm not talking physically, of course, but that would feel their pain and then seek only to want to comfort them and to give a message that says you can make a different choice. No matter how awful external circumstances are, no matter how much in pain your body is, your mind can still be at peace. And all that's required is a little willingness to look at your situation and say, I am wrong. Remembering the line in the Course, do you prefer to be right or happy? We're always insisting that we're right, that our perceptions of ourselves and of the universe are correct. Our perceptions of God are correct. And the fact of the matter is that God thinks otherwise. We are always wrong. When I tell classes that 2 and 2 is 5 and not 4, even though the world screams it's 4, what I'm saying is that this world lies, and that 2 and 2 is not 4. The world's laws and the world's logic that governs our lives here, both individually and collectively, All of this is a lie. And the Course tells us nothing so blinding as perception of form. That when we believe in the reality or the seeming reality of the external world and the seeming reality of our individual self, that's form and that's a lie. And we are blinded to the truth. The truth being on one level that we are a mind, that we're a decision-making mind that is chosen wrongly, and that because of that we can then choose differently. And of course that then becomes a reflection of the true truth, if one can say that, which is that our unity as Christ in Christ and as part of God's perfect oneness. But this is the message we want to give people, that there is a truth beyond the world's truth, and truth too is not for, that we are never upset for the reason we think, as Lesson 5 says. So that what you want to do when you're with people is hear the melody, hear that plaintive cry that says, please show me I'm wrong. I don't know what the matter is, but I know something is wrong. And my life is too painful, and nothing I've tried, none of my specialist tricks has worked. And I want something different, but I don't know how to get it. And so what Jesus is basically training us all to do as his students is to become like him, to become this teacher of God who, as the manual says, stands for the alternative. So you want to be the same gentle, kind, comforting presence that Jesus is for us in our right minds. And so when you hear that call for help, when you hear that call for love that nobody believes he or she deserves, then all you could do, coming from that loving, quiet center in your mind, is let that love extend through you and embrace that person in that comforting embrace that says, my brother, you are wrong. Thank God you are wrong. Thank God we were all wrong and that God was right.
You muted, Lenny.
I was muted, but Eckert totally was not. Did you hear him? Okay. All right. So, um, what Ken was talking about, obviously, is that when we get together with other people, or when we're looking at other people, the only thing that is in alignment with the truth is to see them as being whole. And if they appear to have a grievance or an upset, or as we were kind of talking earlier, it's kind of a little bit of an explosion of grievances among some folks in the Course of Miracles community. And we're in a situation where we have to think, what am I to do? How am I to act and react? And of course, it's so easy to jump on board of, the feeding frenzy when we see our brothers being torn apart. Because, you think about other people that might have wronged me in the past, or other things that might have, I have a grievance about that, I would really like to vindicate or get over, or have some sort of justice for. And what I notice amongst all these folks that are writing all these things, that if they don't get the reaction out of you that they want, then they just up the ante. They just keep going up and up and up till it's like we're now getting personal with people. But the whole idea being that we have to recognize that we must be mistaken. We must have decided wrongly, because we are not at peace and we're not feeling joy. So if I'm not at peace, if I'm not feeling joy, then, I can't look at it and say, it's your fault, because I'm the one who's making the choice right now about what I believe and what I want to hear and what I want to see. So I don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to share about that. In case it wasn't clear, Amy is not here tonight, as she is not well. She has she said she had like a stomach bug. So, but does anybody have anything they'd like to share or any thoughts? Let me put this up. Oh, Brooklyn, go ahead.
Namaste, mighty companions. Well, this whole thing is a lesson for everybody. You know, hopefully, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully people who are in A Course in Miracles community will realize their ego. Yeah. And learn.
Right. And, hopefully it might be a way of actually bringing people together
Mhm.
that were maybe in the past were not so likely to want to get together. So I have this. Hi, Natasha. Good to see you, sweetheart.
Hi, Natasha.
And John Cindy has something he'd like to share. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Lynn, for bringing that program together at the last minute. That's great. I really enjoyed to see Ken Watnick again. So the thing that's on my mind now is about a couple of things, actually. Well, this we talked about earlier on. We just talked about the community, that's in a bit of an uproar. And so basically, and we talked about seeing the sinlessness in all of us. So that's what that's the part for me that we got to go back to. And in my own philosophy studies and stuff, the number one thing is to find no fault. That's the number one rule: find no fault. So whatever's going on, I'm actually finding fault with God. Whatever the hell they're doing, I don't know if I'm good enough if I'm qualified to do that. But so, and that goes back to what Glorian was talking about, or maybe it was you, unmet needs, and for me, we've all got unmet needs along the road, but the number one unmet need that we have experience for is love. We just don't feel we loved enough. There's no unconditional love going around for anybody other than a 2-year-old or less, and all the rest is just, and it's freakish, to think, oh my God, I got to live in a world like this where I got to earn everything, earn my stripes and stuff like that. So basically, it's a big case for me to get off my own case, that that it's time to realize this and figure out, I don't have to be in denial about this. This is what's going on, and so therefore, it's up to me to figure out, how can I be more lovable and more loving to myself? What do I need in that operation? And that's why I find coming to forgiveness is letting go the propaganda that's foisted upon us all. That you have all these unmet needs, and so basically it's going back home, and I'm so glad to be with all the people here. And just to remember, that hey, we're on the right track here. We may be plodders on this path, step by step by step, but oh my goodness, it's like, oh, let me just do one thing, if I may, and that's it's the whole point of it. I just read, if it's okay, I just read one paragraph from Joel today.
Sure.
It's the dedication to God expresses consideration to our neighbor's needs. That's what we're talking about. Ennobles the lives of those who are called and furnishes inspiration to the rest of us so that we too may rise above the deadness and dullness of human living. Real living begins only when inspiration enters. Self-completeness is attained only in giving and serving. Freedom is attained in consecration, and peace is found in dedication. So honestly, Lynn, I gotta acknowledge your your role in this, like in pulling things together out the hat at the last minute, and your commitment to this. And I'm so excited to be part of the brothers and sisters like this, you know. And and this is from Al. I don't know if you know, but Al Denninger, but I get him every day, and it's so beautiful because he says like, and then he quotes at the end of the email. He says, uh, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone hath loveth is born of God, and knoweth God." And that's from John. And he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. That's also biblical. But then his last thing, he says, dedication is practicing without ceasing until there is proof. God is love, and love is God's activity. Love one another as Christ loves you. Love as you are loved. Now, so that's my contribution for now.
Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. Thank you, thank you, thank you, John. And yes, that, I mean, really, that is the only need that we truly have. We need to remember our connection. We need to remember that we are not separate from God, and we've never been separated from our source. That's the need that is the greatest thing to have, that we have, and that can be satisfied through, as you were just reading also, practicing love, practicing forgiveness. I read that lesson 189, I feel the love of God within me now. And at first I said, you know what? I don't feel the love of God within me now. Why? Why not? And of course, I don't feel completely bereft by God, but I think that really feeling the love of God is a feeling of just sheer ecstasy, really. And, why am I not feeling that? Well, the closest I come to it is like when I'm here with you guys and I'm sharing with you and we're connecting, and I have that feeling of not only being loved, I'm loving. And I think that's why we don't experience God's love, is because we're not giving love. We're limiting love. We're saying, this person I can love and that person, no, not so much. Or, this thing I can love, but, let's not have this other thing. And the reality of it is, when we learn to love all, because it's all an expression of God, as Wayne and I were reading today in the Impersonal Life, it's just so striking, what he's saying in there. I could put up some of that too, and we could look at that. It's so striking. He's really talking about, God is in everything, and God is the love that runs through it all. And we can experience it by experiencing each other, and not rejecting, really just loving. Glorian, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Hi, thanks everyone, John and Lynn for putting this together. One problem and one solution. And what John was saying, what I said in the chat about needs, the perceived needs are connected to relinquishing the guilt and the fear. So we need to look at that in order to give it up. And Dove put there, love is freedom. And I put forgiveness equals non-judgment. And ultimately, that's the point that we want to get to. As we know, we're always projecting our guilt onto the world. So, all right, what is this showing me? Bring it back to me and move into forgiveness, which is non-judgment. And he says, if you forgive, this will disappear. I also wanted to just read from lesson 170, the last paragraph, and it goes along with what Ken was saying about hearing the melody. So may I do that?
Yes, please.
Father, we are like you. No cruelty abides in us, for there is none in you. Your peace is ours, and we bless the world with what we have received from you alone. We choose again and make our choice for all our brothers, knowing they are one with us. We bring them your salvation as we have received it now, and we give thanks for them who render us complete. In them we see your glory, and in them we find our peace. Holy are we, because your holiness has set us free. And we give thanks. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you for that. Yeah. And you know, that's the other thing. Do you feel holy? You know, we are. Holy are we. I love it. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
I'd just like to say one thing, Lynn. I just remembered one thing. When we talk about union and love and everything, like there's one experience that I just reminded of last week was in the Gospel of Thomas. I don't know if you know the guy that wrote that commentary on it, but on lesson 22, it's in that it's the saying 22. Jesus illustrates the you know, like suckling infants, you know, the love that the mother has for the suckling infants and the dependence on the mother for that suckling infant, and he spins it out pretty darn good. You know that's the story that we've all had experience of, or hopefully that we've all had experience of. Certainly all the females have anyway, of being connected with another, and that is like the most exquisite model in the human field that we can, you know, of love that Jesus pointed to when he was making a point about something else. And I thought that was a good example, a good metaphor. And we can think about that, you know, how and the role that the child and the mother have on each other, you know, and there's a coherency there that's really it's felt, you know, all the way to the rest of the universe. Anyway,
That's beautiful. Thank you, John. Wow. That was good. Hey, Marcy, welcome back. It's so good to see you, my friend. All right. Anything else anybody has that they'd like to share? I had another couple of quotes, and then I had another a video. And the video, this is something that I just wanted to kind of talk about a little bit. Maybe I'll just go to the video anyway. It's a Marshall Rosenberg, and this is a great one. This is called How to Enjoy Other People's Pain. And it sounds not very good. How to enjoy other people's pain. But there's a and Marshall even made a song. I think maybe he'll sing the song on this little recording. But you know, when people are like wondering, oh, you know, Lynn, you know what, you know, so many people call you up and tell you all their troubles, or, you know, you have family and they have troubles, and, you know, you have to really think about what to do to help them out, or how to handle them, how to help them, or just in general. And a lot of folks, you know, think that you know, I don't like to bother you with my heartache. I don't like to bother you with my feelings. And the way Marshall teaches us is that we welcome people to bring us their problems. We welcome people to come to us with their troubles. We welcome hearing about their pain. And that sounds really crazy, but Marshall Rosenberg is going to explain that to us. And let's hope that it makes sense, more sense than I'm making right now. So here we go. How to enjoy other people's pain. Dr. Marshall Rosenberg.
About enjoying suffering, could you elaborate on that?
Oh, yes, that's very important. Thank you for bringing back to me about it. Okay, a friend of yours says this to you. I'm a nothing. I'll never amount to anything. Look, I'm an assistant clerk at age 45. And my brother's a head of his company. My sister is a top attorney. And I'm a nothing. Okay? Now, to enjoy this person's suffering, we have to release ourselves from two kinds of responsibility. First, that we didn't cause the pain. And we want to release ourselves from that, especially when the other person is trying to make us believe we did cause the pain. See, so if this person had started, and you're at fault for all of this, why am I nothing? Especially when a person says that, we do not want to in any way think we caused this person's pain, because you can't cause another person's psychological pain. Well, in this case, the person wasn't saying that, so that's pretty easy to liberate ourselves from feeling responsible. But the second one is the hard one. To think we have to fix it, to make the person feel better. The more we think it's our job to make a person feel better, the more we're going to make it worse. Because you can't fix people. The good news is you don't have to. There is a very powerful healing energy always available if we don't block it. And how do we block that energy? By trying to fix things ourselves. So how do we help that energy do the job? By empathy. And empathy requires presence, just to be present. When we are just present, when we are remembering the Buddha's advice, don't do something, stand there. When we do that, and that energy works through us, there is a precious connection between that person and us. And that precious connection is what I mean by enjoy the pain, to enjoy that precious connection. And whether this person's feeling joy or pain, if we are present there with them, that's what I mean. But we block that beautiful energy whenever we step in and think we have to fix things. So if we say, oh, there, you'll feel better, it'll get over it, we make it worse. When we start to give advice, we make it worse. So what does that look like? So you're feeling really discouraged and really would like to have achieved more in your life at this moment than you've done. Yes, I've had every opportunity, and look at me, I've just never made use of anything, you know. Yeah, so you're really discouraged and frustrated and would really have liked to have made different use of some things than you have. Yeah. See, I'm just present. I'm not trying to fix it. And when that happens, there's a very precious connection. That's what I mean by enjoyment. And that precious connection does the healing, not your advice, not your whatever. Yes?
Can you clarify the distinction between empathizing and sort of encouraging and supporting the soap opera of, you know, somebody who is somebody who's suffering, and sometimes by being there, it's sort of a subtle encouragement as opposed to
the subtle encouragement that I think you're talking about comes about when this person is talking about what happened to them for the 50th time you've heard the story. So if I'm really listening to them, I don't hear what they talk about the past, because I know that the more they talk about the past, the less healing will take place.
Right.
So I interrupt. But I interrupt to bring the conversation to life. They're talking about the past, and I interrupt and I say, excuse me, but it sounds like right now you're still feeling hurt because your need for respect wasn't met in that. See, because just letting them talk about the past and asking them questions about what happened about the past is to just keep the soap opera going. So I interrupt when they talk about the past, because we don't heal by talking about the past. We heal by talking about what's alive in us right now, stimulated by the past. But it's what's here now. And when I connect at that level, they won't keep talking about it. They'll heal. Last question, and then I'm going to get into the subject that I'd like to cover before the end. Yes?
Today we have a really special guest, Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, who's the founder of a process called nonviolent
All right. So I'm not sure, yeah. Um, what he's talking about, what we're talking about is that, how do we react when people are can't stop thinking about, what happened to them, or what like he was talking about the past. And how helpful is it for us to, just sit there and let them continue to rant, compared to stopping them and asking them what's alive in you now? What does that have to do with what's happening to you now? How can we look at this and see something different for you at this time, rather than, thinking or feeling, Glorian says fixing reinforces the guilt by making the error real. When we are present, we allow the flow and the Holy Spirit to come through. That's right. The one thing that Marshall is very clear about, when you're having any kind of conflict or conversation with people, is to avoid diagnosing the situation. Avoid, trying to, do a quick fix, figure out, oh, this is what you should do. Here's, let's get this over with so that we can move on to some more pleasant thought. And of the link to the Marshall Rosenberg, let me go find it. What did I do here? Yeah, Marshall. Oh my God, he is such a wonderful, or was such a wonderful teacher for us. And anything uh here's the link to that um video we just watched. But that's when we're just trying to fix somebody's problems, we're not addressing the real need that that made that problem come about. Well, all we're doing is acknowledging it as true and saying, let's figure out what we can do about it. So, it's so important when we're trying to communicate with people about situations where they're upset, or they're angry, or they're afraid, or they're sad, or whatever, all those feelings that we look at, to come to get to the truth of what's going on with them, rather than the story. Cindy, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
So, thank you, Lynn. Oh, okay, I think, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
I got my headphone. I have my headphones.
Yeah, you sound good.
Oh, so what did he say at the very end? You don't want to keep them talking in the past, or you don't want to yourself be talking in the past, because that's not where the healing is. The healing is in now, right now, the present. But he said something like, he interrupted them in order to stimulate the healing, or something like that. What was that last part? That was really hit me. But now, what?
Yeah, and that's what happens when someone is telling you a story, and they're getting involved in it. Maybe they've already told it to you once. Maybe they're going to tell it to you again in a different way. Whatever. It's not inappropriate. It's not rude to just say, "Oh, okay, hang on for just a minute. Let me understand what you're saying to me," or let us look at this. Give me. I really want to know what is causing your upset, and we engage with them in that way. We stop them from the cycle of, whoa, 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 that we go through, that just people are just crazy with their cycle. We stop the cycle, and then we get into, tell me what you're feeling about this. Tell me, don't just, go on with your story, but just tell me, how does this make you feel? What needs of yours are not being met by this situation that you're telling me about. You get into the real, what's really going on here. And it could be, my boyfriend left me, or my, whatever. My kid won't talk to me, or, all of the many stories that, we have. And continuing to focus on the story never comes to the reality of what's the problem. Because the problem isn't that, you broke up with your guy. The problem is something beyond that. Why do you even have that, uh, the feeling that being with
That
that
is the
person
problem.
validates you, or makes you, what is it that you're missing? What is it that needs to be, what is your real need here? And so you get to the real thing that's really being
Yeah, that was
talked about, so you can really address it. And when
that
you
was.
do that, go on.
Well, I'm saying that was very helpful. I get it. I'm going through this whole thing with my grandson, and he's opening up and talking and stuff. And I've actually, on my own, just have been able to, like, well, all right, how are you feeling now? And because of his autism, it's just funny. He just jumps right into it. So anyway, I I can also see myself, like, it's kind of like the same old song. You kind of catch yourself with, for me anyway, like, you can't just go through, I can't anymore, uh complaining and bitching and moaning, or just in my fear, without recognizing that's what I'm doing. And that there is, there's an antidote, or there's an answer to it. Not But it's not in the past. It's like, you know I like to envision myself as rolling up the past like it's a scroll, with all its chatters and burns and blames and ugliness and spills, and just start rolling it up in my mind's eye, and maybe tucking it away for reference, but don't leave it out there in front of me to always have to look at, and you know mop or not, well, just, as my as a, something that's larger than my own awareness. Anyway.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and what happens is when we look at it from that different direction, it actually shifts, it actually changes. And you see it differently. And when you are able to engage with your grandson in a way that he feels he's really being heard, and that it doesn't he doesn't have to feel like you really care, but he will feel like you really care because you're asking. If you didn't care, you wouldn't ask.
Yeah,
And so and
yeah. I didn't.
go on.
So I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but
That's
I did
okay.
not realize how deeply damaged his mother's absence has caused him, and shame on me, for not realizing that. But not in time with me. It's just a beautiful thing that we're healing together, the two of us. It really is. So that I just had to throw that in.
Oh, that makes me that's
His
beautiful, Cindy. I love to hear that.
Yeah, his honesty, his ability to be honest and not be, he's really not. And then my little bit of experience and what I've learned complement each other. So yeah, it's a good thing because
Yeah.
I can kind of guide around, you know. So it's a good thing. Yeah. So I'll let you go. I'm not anyway. I'll drop the mic.
Oh no, that's fine, Cindy. Yes, that is such a huge thing. And that may be, and here's, get this now. See, when you do it, it makes you happy. When
Yeah.
you can engage with him and have that understanding, have that connection, it makes you happy. That's what Marshall was talking about. You
Uh,
learn to enjoy when people come and they're, having difficult times, because
yeah. There you
you
go.
can connect
Yeah.
with them, and it really makes you happy. And when it gladdens my heart It gladdens your heart. This is the thing. We're here, A Course in Miracles tells us that, we're here to ignite the spark in our brothers' minds. And we don't do that by telling them, hey, you better wake up. We do that by connecting with them in the holy instant, which is the time when there's nothing is broken in the holy instant. And that you get those holy instants, every time when you decide to join, whenever you choose to join.
When you say ignite the spark, that thought came to my head. Yeah, we're here to ignite the spark, but it doesn't really say that we're here to like tend the fire closely throughout their life, right?
I love that.
Leave it at the
Yeah.
spark.
But you don't want the fire to go out either.
Right. But you know what I'm saying.
I love it.
Some of us are busy sweeping holes here and there, making sure that
That's right.
Some of us.
And that's why
All right, thank you.
Stay in touch. Thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Cindy. I love that. Did anybody else have any thoughts about this? It just is really such a joyful thing to be able to join with people. Okay, the major thing that nonviolent communication is based on. Marshall Rosenberg worked with Carl Rogers, who was a transactional therapist. He came up with this idea of when you're dealing with your students, or with your he worked with students, but with your patients, that you develop a standard of unconditional positive regard. Unconditional positive regard says, I see only basically the Christ in you. Nothing you can say, nothing you can do, nothing you have ever done, nothing I think you ever will do can stop me from seeing you as being a holy being, or the most uh, wonderful person in the world. It's unconditional positive regard. No conditions. I'm just going to regard you the same no matter what. And because of that thought of unconditional positive regard, so interestingly enough, Bill Thetford worked with Carl Rogers also in his undergraduate days. So Carl Rogers was very influential. But that whole idea of unconditional positive regard is really where you begin in any of these conversations or relationships. Is, you're not looking for what they did wrong. You're not, there's no conditions at all. And that's what makes it so easy, because any thought that comes up that says, oh yeah, but they did this or they were that, or, all thoughts of the past, you let go. You don't, the past doesn't come into any relationship, any conversation. The only thing that's real is what's right here and right now. Natasha, hi.
Hi. Okay. I'm driving and talking on a phone. It's a lot, but through a Zoom call. But I do want to add that when you said that, it made me think of my sister who passed away in 2018. But she would say often to me, not often, but usually when I was apologizing for something that I felt I needed to apologize for, she would say, there is nothing you can do to make me stop loving you. And she would just say it with so much sincerity, emotion. I mean, she was just letting me know, like, you didn't even have to apologize. Like, she didn't say those words, but what she was saying was, there's nothing you could do to make me stop loving you, you know? And it meant so much to me then, and then especially after she passed. Um, and yeah, it makes a big difference to know that there is someone who really, really, really feels that way. Thank you, Pass.
Thank you. Wow, that's beautiful. And I'm so sorry to hear about your sister. That is a very difficult thing, um, especially if you were close. I've lost sisters as well. And it never what you would want to happen. But it sounds like she really gave you some wonderful advice, wonderful love and
Yeah,
experience. So,
yeah,
and made you who you are.
yeah, she really did. And thank you for those words. I must say that after she passed, she began communicating with me a whole lot. So she gave me, I would say, even more after she passed than she did when she was physically amongst us, because um, you know, what she communicated, the fact that she was communicating with me at all, and what she communicated was, life changing. So, yeah, she continues to give, and totally continues being in my life, and it makes a big difference. Thank you, Pat.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so cool. It is cool. I mean, first off, because death, there is really not any difference. We're all we're all here in the same world, and nothing. It's just like walking out a door into another room, really. And we were talking with Rob Schwartz the other day, and he told us a story about, I think it was him that was telling the story about a family that they had children or a child, and the husband passed away, and she came to find out that the reason they had made a plan before they were even born, that they were going to come here and do that, and that he was going to pass away so that he could help her with the family from the other side. Because when you're not in the restriction of the world and the body, there's a lot more you can do. So, that's what I always think about, my friends, family, people that have passed. I'm like looking at them. Okay, now you're over there. Uh, help me out. Now you're not confused about what's going on. Now we can have a conversation or relationship without any barriers, because when the body goes, those barriers drop. And I know I've been that way with my mother since she passed. We I hear her all the time. I tell her things, I mean, truly tell her things all the time. And it's just, it's like nothing happened, other than there's not a distance between us now. There's not a confusion or um, misunderstandings at all, which, what a relief that is too. Thank you so much, Natasha. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Oh, we're at the top of the hour. That went quick. But I would entertain any other thoughts.
I just want to say thank you, Lynn. I gotta go. I love you. I love the whole evening here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. You're wonderful. I love you all. You guys are just, yeah.
The best.
Yeah. And just keep on keeping on. We
Hey,
stand
Lynn,
together. Yeah.
can you close with a song?
Sure. What do
Into
you
the
want to hear?
Mystic. Into the
Ooh,
Mystic.
I love that
He said
song.
that we were born before the wind. Anyway, kind of.
Yep.
So anyway. Yeah, would you?
I
That
love
would be
Van
awesome.
Morrison. He's one of my
Oh
favorite
my
guys.
God, yes. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lynn.
I've got a bunch of his. I probably have it on my list That's okay. I'll just play it from YouTube without the video.
What a prolific writer. I just am. I've been getting into him lately, and yeah.
Yeah. I like the song Enlightenment. It's very funny.
Yeah. And a little political too.
Yeah, here we go.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one as we sail into the mystic. I can now hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And where that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. Yeah, when the foghorn blows, I wanna hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And magnificently we will fold into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, you know I will be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, I gotta hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will fold into the mystic. Come on, girl.
You guys, thank y'all for hanging out. Hopefully Amy will be back next week, and bless you all. I love you all. And let's see, what is today? Today is Monday. Wow, tomorrow we got stuff going on. Yay. All right. Love you guys. Night.
Big hugs.
Big
Really
hugs.
wonderful.
You too.
See you in 10